Let's turn now to the battle for the seat of Curtin in Perth. The independent candidate Kate Chaney joins us live from the Cottesloe Civic Centre. Kate, really appreciate your time on a busy day. A poll a few days ago suggested you're on track to win that traditionally blue ribbon seat of Curtin. What sense are you getting as you hit those polling booths today? Are you feeling confident?
I think it's going to be really close, Ash. We've spent the morning in the north of the electorate having great conversations with voters. There's definitely a strong appetite for change from the people that we've spoken to, but clearly it's a big challenge unseating a safe Liberal seat.
Like other Teal candidates on the East Coast, you're campaigning on climate and on integrity issues. So in a bid to be upfront and open with voters there in Curtin in the final few hours of voting, what are your intentions? Can you finally declare for us which side of government you'd go with in the event of a hung parliament? You must have given it a lot of thought. Don't tell us you haven't.
Well, I have given it a lot of thought and my intentions remain exactly the same, and that is that I would make a decision based on the issues, not on the tribe. So what I hear from voters in Curtin is that they're pretty disillusioned with both sides and they really care about issues like integrity and climate and think that those issues are actually more important than who the Prime Minister is for the next 3 years.
So to clarify, it won't matter as much to you if Curtin, for example, overwhelmingly backs the Liberals second to you. To you, it's more important to negotiate on climate and integrity issues over the number of votes for either of the major parties in Curtin?
Well, that's been my platform from the beginning and nothing has changed. That's what I'm hearing from people in Curtin, that's what they care about and that's what they would expect of an independent.
So would you be actually willing to do a formal deal with either of the major parties to guarantee them that confidence?
Look, if my support is needed to form a minority government, I would negotiate with both parties and, you know, whether that's a formal or informal deal, I think that's going to be part of the negotiation if it happens.
Sally Steggles said that she'd have difficulty trusting any undertakings from a Morrison-led minority government after he failed to deliver an anti-corruption commission as promised in 2019. Would you have similar misgivings on that front?
Corruption is definitely something that is a deep concern for people here in Curtin, and a willingness to have an anti-corruption commission with teeth is likely to form part of those negotiations. So I do think it's something that people really care about, and I would be taking that issue into a negotiation with whichever party.
Okay, well, we'll have to wait and watch and see how that unfolds along with the other independents after the results tonight. Most voters around the country would know that seat of Curtin as being Julie Bishop's former seat. Have you had much communication with her throughout the campaign? Has she offered you any guidance as a mentor along the way?
No, I haven't.
And in terms of your communication with the other independents, how coordinated has it been? We've seen accusations that the Teal independents have been running as another political party. Just how close have your campaigns been in the last few weeks?
Look, I've spoken to a number of the other independents more on a personal level about, you know, how is it for your kids, how you're hanging in there. We haven't really had conversations about policy, but it's a pretty extraordinary experience. So it has been useful to talk to some other people who are going through something similar.
I think hats off to anyone who's willing to put their hands up and stand and exercise their democratic right to stand in any election. It is a huge undertaking and so much work, as you've no doubt discovered over the last few months. What lessons have you taken out of running through this campaign? What have you learned about politics? Has it been nasty on some level? I know there's been a lot of defacing of signs, etc. What sort of takeouts have you had?
I've been really, really inspired by the positivity of our volunteer base, and we've got about 860 people, most of whom have never been involved in politics before, who really want to see politics done differently. And that's been just so energising. It's been overwhelmingly a great experience. And I think when we see the negativity coming from opponents, it just reinforces that people have had enough of that type of politics and they want to see something different. So it makes me really hopeful for the future.
I see reports that you've managed to raise more than $1 million. I think about 450,000 of that came from Simon Holmes Court Climate 200 group. Did you ever imagine you'd be able to raise that much? And in terms of changing that battleground in Curtin, even if you don't manage to get over the line tonight, what do you hope that you've achieved?
So we've had about 650 donors who have contributed to that fund, as well as the 10,000 donors to Climate 200, and that overwhelming support on the funding side has really complemented the volunteer energy that we've seen. And one thing's for sure, I think we've really seen that people have a different expectation and a different level of energy about politics. So taking on an incumbent is really challenging and really expensive, but the support that we've had has really given us the strong impression that people are ready for change.
Kate Chaney, the independent candidate in Curtin, will let you get back to speaking with voters in the final few hours of voting at the booth there at the Cottesloe Civic Centre. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us.
My pleasure, Ash. Thanks.